The 2% Club is a subculture at West Point that consists of cadets who began dating before they arrived at West Point. For the sake of data and analysis, we interviewed a few cadets who began dating at the beginning of their first semester plebe year.
We both met during our junior year of high school in California because she was a cheerleader and I was a football player on.
How long have you been together?
We've been together for about 2 years and a month now.
Hannah Holmesy, I'm in company E4 and I'm class of 2020.
So Jack and I met during the second detail of my B.
Hi, I'm Cadet Ashley Kim and I'm in company E4 and I've been dating Andrew Clegg since November of 2016. We've been together for 2 years. November 2018 was our 2 year. We met in company, so we're in company dating.
We met in my hometown in Service, Arizona, around middle school. We've been together since high school, I'd say senior year.
What has been the easiest and hardest part of your relationship?
Part of your relationship.
The toughest part of my relationship has definitely been the distance between us because now I'm going to school here in New York and she's going to school in Arizona, so the distance makes it really difficult. The easiest part of the relationship, it's been basically like talking to each other, like not necessarily like face to face or over the phone, but like since we still are very similar, we get each other and we know if one's having a bad day or if the other one's having a really good day and like how to address those type of days and make each other feel best we possibly can.
The toughest part of our relationship is that we've basically been doing long distance for over half of our relationship, and right now he's deployed, so that's pretty tough. Part of our relationship is that we're both each other's best friends, so we can tell each other anything and just laugh and have a good time.
What made it difficult was like being too close at times could be difficult, and also like not being able to get out of here as a plebe and yuck, like that was pretty difficult. But I think we go through the same stuff here, so like all the mandatory fun we have to go to, like we go together so we make it better. And yeah, proximity, like if I wanted to see him I can just walk a few steps up or down our divisions. I think that's like availability on like a long distance relationship is really the easiest part.
Toughest part was definitely the distance. Me coming to West Point took a toll on our relationship a little bit.
And what has been the easiest part of your relationship? And what has been the easiest part of your relationship?
Knowing that she'll always be there for me through tough times, happy, sad, she's always there.
In your own opinion, what is one key factor that has kept you together in difficult times?
One key factor that has kept us together in difficult times is just that willingness to help each other out, knowing what the other is feeling, and just the situations we've been through before.
I would say our love together, like our love for each other. I think that's probably like a strong thing to have in a relationship, just trust and loyalty. So.
Have you seen the hookup culture at West Point and how has it affected your relationship?
Personally, no, but I've seen it over social media, and I think you only really need to deal with it if you want to immerse yourself into that culture, so it's really easy to stay out of it.
So I've never experienced personally the hookup culture here, and it hasn't really affected my relationship, but I have seen it affect my friends, and so I just try not to judge people. I try to help them out if they need to and maybe kind of sway them in a direction that would protect themselves from that hookup culture, but I just try to be there for people if they're going through stuff that has happened because of this culture.
I have seen it, and I don't think it really affects me in my relationship, so I don't really have to deal with it.
If you could do anything different regarding your relationship while at West Point, what would it be?
What would it be?
Definitely to have more over the phone conversation because there's really nothing like hearing the other person's voice and knowing exactly what's going on with them because you could even misinterpret texts or nothing really compares to over the phone conversation.
I don't think I would have done anything differently. I kind of like how our relationship was here and kind of like our love story, and so I don't think I'd really change anything.
I think try to prioritize like schoolwork and the relationship has been pretty hard, the hardest part, but we deal with it. We study separately and then like get together before tabs and stuff.
What would it be?
I think when I have downtime, I should focus it more on her because I don't have the like crazy amount of time to do stuff like cute things for her, call her, check on her. So I think that would help.
Are you planning on living with your significant other before getting engaged?
I believe so. It's more of a test to see like if you'll actually be able to stand living in the same house with that person, because when you're in a relationship with them, you don't really see their living habits or like what they're like on a daily basis, because you want to put your best foot forward in a relationship. So yes, I will be planning on living with them before I get engaged.
So Jack and I are currently engaged right now, and we don't plan on necessarily living together before we get married, but we are set to get married at the end of June. So after graduation, I'll kind of move my stuff into our house, but technically we will not be living together before we get married.
I am currently engaged, so I do not plan on living with her before we get married.
Do you think your income status influenced the start of your relationship?
No, not really, because we didn't have anything in high school. It was just no money coming in.
I'd say no, because we started off the same, so no.
Do you think that your parents' relationship positively or negatively affected your current relationship?
I think the relationship negatively affected the relationship because our parents really didn't know each other that well, so they didn't know what was on the other side of my significant other's family. So they didn't know if like they could trust me going over their house, or like what type of family they were.
Okay, thank you.
I definitely think my parents' relationship positively affected Jack and I's relationship, specifically because my dad was in the military. So my mom has dealt with all these things like the long distance, the deployments, and so she's been able to give myself a lot of advice. My dad has been able to give Jack a lot of advice, and it really helps us kind of like gauge expectations for how this relationship can go.
I would say probably a little negatively, because just a generation gap. They're a lot older than her parents, and they taught me different morals and values than her parents did. So I think it was just bridging that gap and making things happen. So
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Second Lieutenant Bridget Wasdal, USMA class of 2018, married First Lieutenant Eduardo Ramirez, Norwich class of 2016. They met at the New Mexico Military Institute in 2013. They've been dating for 5 years before they got married. They said the hardest part of their relationship was learning how to communicate while being a long-distance couple, and the use of technology helped them keep in contact with each other. She said her parents both positively and negatively influenced her relationship because while they were supportive of the relationship, she saw how difficult marriage was for them and had doubts about getting married this young. Our research question was, does the culture of West Point affect long-term relationships? From all of our research and interviews, we found that distance and restrictions put strains on relationships. There are pros and cons to dating other cadets. Long distance doesn't end after West Point, and keeping a positive attitude can promote strong relationship foundations that remain constant throughout its entirety.